Hey guys, I had a request to take a look at the Chemical Guys polishes and compounds. I have both. We're going to take a look at the V32 Extreme Compound. We're going to take a look at the V34 Hybrid Compound. For the polishes, we're going to take a look at the V36 Cutting Polish. We're also going to take a look at the V38. That's the grade final polish. And I have a vehicle washed, prepped, ready to go in here. It needs a lot of work, especially the hood. I'm going to have to wet sand. I'm going to compound and polish using the rotary. So we're going to test on it first before I get started with that. We'll tape off 4 little sections. We'll test each one of these. We're not expecting it to take care of all this damage here. We just want to see if it makes a difference on some of these panels. We also want to see how they work, what length they work before they flash. We want to see what kind of residue they produce. We want to see what kind of residue control we're going to need for products like this. We're going to see if we need a very good QED to add into the mix to make these work a little bit longer before they break down completely. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is the hood we had the test on today, and I can't for the life of me figure out how they get like this. It must be washed by Brillo pads or Scotch-Brite pads. But in any case, we're going to get the first compound going here, and that is the V32 Optical Grade Extreme Compound by the Chemical Guys. Put 3 little beads on a pad. We're just going to do a couple passes back and forth. We're not going to try and correct this paint. This has to be wet sanded. It has to be, I'm going to use the rotary on it, and I'll do that a little bit later. Okay, so the V32, the Optical Grade Extreme Compound, is one of their compounds for extreme cutting to get out some of the worst scratches or defects. It has their micro abrasion technology. It also says on the label it has no oils, silicone, or fillers. Probably when I've used this before, it'd be a good reason why it flashed so quickly. So definitely have on hand a quality QED. You can add it to the mix when you see it start to dry out or flash. It'll extend the working time, and you'll be able to get every penny out of that compound until it's totally diminished. And that's what that was. That was the Angel Wax QED. I just give it a slight mist over the area, usually enough to give me enough time to finish my run over the compound until it's completely diminished. We're just using the entry-level Griot's Garage polisher, by the way. And although just entry-level, this thing has been dropped, kicked, backed over, used in extreme heat, cold, gotten wet. And I'll tell you, it just keeps on ticking. It may be entry level, but it is put together well, and I highly recommend it, especially to beginners, weekend warriors, driveway detailers. So there's a little example of the residue, and that's typical for this type of midline compound. So the residue control is important. Using the QEDs, cleaning off your pads in between every pass if you can. Get into a habit of doing that. I'm telling you, you will benefit from it. It'll become just part of your routine. You won't even think about it after a while. So taking a look at it, like I said, we're not looking for it to correct this panel, but it made a difference. It took away a lot of the small blemishes just in a few passes. So, you know, they're okay. And here's the example of cleaning off that residue. We're going to take care of the pads. We're going to do that as often as we can. You know, even though you had that entry-level Griot, so you get a decent pad on there, you're going to do well. We're also going to, I'm trying to get you guys in the habit of cleaning off your panels, dusting them off between each step, or before you go to compound it, polish it, wax it, seal it, or whatever you need to do. Now for the next stage, we're going to use the second compound we have, and that is the V34. That is the optical grade hybrid compound. This also has been designed to remove heavy blemishes, heavy defects. It has their microabrasion technology. The only difference is between this and the other one is it actually kind of gaps the space in between the heavy correction and getting ready for your final polishing, your ultra polishing. So it kind of gets you a little closer to the next step. This also has no oils, silicone, or fillers, so it's no secret this is going to probably flash dry out prematurely. So have your QED on hand, and when you start to see it dry out a bit, give it a little mist, and you can keep on going till it's completely diminished. Obviously, not being a chemist, I'm not sure why they leave the compounds completely absent of oils or some kind of lubrication to at least extend the working time a little bit. Because when you see it start to dry out, like right there it is, and I'm going to put my QED on there. If I take my finger and I get a sample off the hood, there's still some micro abrasives in there. And I just think it would be a waste to end the run right here. I mean, you could do a smaller area, you could work a smaller area, but I'm so used to working areas this size with the compounds and polishes I use daily. I just mentally couldn't go back to little 1x1 or 2x2 foot sections. Okay, so let's get a close look, see what kind of residues it's left behind. And it's moderate. I mean, it's there. It's definitely something you have to control. Let's get this off and come in close and take a look, see what it's done just in a few passes here. Again, I need to state we're not trying to correct this paint. I'm going to have to do that later. We just want to do a couple passes and see if it's made any difference at all. And when we're done with all 4 sections, we're going to kind of have something to compare side by side. And there you have it. I'll give you a comparison of the first 2 sections we've done so far. Okay, we've used the 2 compounds. Now it's time to take a look at the 2 polishes we have. Before we do that, we're going to clean off the pad. We're going to do some residue control here. Speaking of residue, I'm going to bring you in close and see what kind of residue you will actually get off your pad. It's sticking to the side of the bucket right now. It's down in the water. It's sticking up in the lip at the inside of the tape there. And it's definitely something you want to get off your pad between every pass if you can. Alright guys, next up here is the V36 optical grade cutting polish. This is made for more moderate paint defects and scratches. It is made to kind of attack heavy swirls. The V36 is a water-based, OEM-approved polish made to remove swirls and defects and also remove 2,000 to 2,500 grit sanding scratches, swirls, and holograms. Now, when it comes to these 2 polishes here, I've used them before, and I don't mind them. I enjoy them. They do not require a QED or anything to extend the working time. They have very little residue, some, but not quite as much as the compounds. I can deal with that, and it actually gives a half-decent finish. As you're going to see here when I bring you in close, it actually looks just as good or maybe even better than the compound sections we have done to the right of it. In perfect situations, I've actually used this one as a 1-step. Again, this one is the V36 optical grade cutting polish. Just like the other 2 labels, this one states it has no oil, silicone, or fillers. I'm not sure chemically what goes into these, but the 2 polishes here, you can work them as long as you want to compared to the compounds without having to add the QEDs. Okay, the last one we have to look at here is the V38 optical grade final polish. This is just as it says on the bottle, the final polish. This is the one that gets you to where you want to be before you apply your wax, your sealant. So before use, we're going to dust off the area, we're going to apply a few beads, and we're going to do a couple runs on this panel and take a look. This one here also says on the label it has no oils, silicone, or fillers, but then it also says it was made to optimize the working time. So I'm not sure what they would have added to do that, but it also says it is made to work with water-based paints and ceramic coatings. For optimum results, the label wants you to use moderate pressure for the first 2 passes and then do an additional pass with very light pressure. Basic, but like I said, I've used both of these polishes and they work just fine and would fit into just about any paint correction regimen. As for the compounds, they're serviceable. It's not a product I would have to quick run and order and ship overnight. But, you know, it's definitely something that's going to get you where you need to go. You just need to do some residue control. You need to add a little something to extend the working time, and you'll be fine. They definitely don't deserve to get beat up the way they do sometimes on the forums by these desktop detailers. So we're going to wipe it off. We're going to wipe off the panel we just went over. We're going to come in for a closer look. All right, as we come in for a closer look, you know, the final polish didn't do a bad job either. Actually, the first 2 panels there that we used the polish on looked a little better than the compounding panels. But I'll let you be the judge of that. I'll let you order some, try for yourself, and form your own opinions. All right, guys, again, the compounds, we had the V32, that was the extreme compound. We had the V34, that was the hybrid. We had the V36 polish, it's a cutting polish. We had the V38, is a optical grade final polish. I'm going to put a link down below for all these in case you want to look into them. They seem to get a lot of hate on forums and such, but they're fine. They work. Just need to practice a little bit of residue control and you'll be fine. Any questions or comments, don't hesitate. Brian from Apex Detail. We'll catch you next time.